What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. And I've got to say, what has to be one of, if not the most requested videos in my channel's history. I'm not really all that familiar with Nick, but this is one of those times where I was truly torn. And I wanted to look at the situation. I wanted to kind of let things unfold because, I don't follow Nick all that much, but obviously, like everyone on this platform, I'm certainly aware of who he is. And obviously, we've seen the views on this video right now trending, I believe, top 10 on YouTube. And the interesting aspect of this for me was at first, I was very happy. I had not seen the video. People were coming to my comment section. They were telling me, hey, did you see what Nick did? Did you see Nick? Have you looked at this video? Nick lost all this weight. And then when I sat down to watch the video, I struggled to even get through it. Because, rather than come out and talk about his weight loss, it's almost like he wanted to play into this character where, he was this villain and his audience was the constant suggestion of what his life and health must be when that wasn't really the case. And it leaves you with kind of the end result that he had perhaps recorded content long in advance and then used that time frame to lose weight, reclaim his health. And in the past, Nick had been pretty clear about two things. Number one, he did not want to mukbang forever, and I think that's smart. Everyone watching mukbangers realizes that this is a short-term thing. You can't do this in your 40s, 50s, 60s. And number two, Nick is very intelligent. He has the ability to set plans and follow through. I'm just going to be as blunt as I can. There's no one with a channel of his size simply waking up and making content on a whim. Everything is calculated. And he is more than capable of formulating the acting and the scripting and the segmenting possible to do this, if that's truly what it is. But the entire kind of perspective of he is the puppet master and we are the puppet, I guess that's kind of what made it not enjoyable. Because rather than see someone talk about the journey, he seemed more enamored with just the ability to kind of set everything up. And for someone who really seemed to have this love-hate relationship with their diet, their size, you get the feeling this was so much more artificial than substance. And in turn, what really should be a celebrated moment, an accomplishment in someone's life, almost boiled down to a gotcha moment. And as that kind of festered on the internet, you sought to see people be a little bit more skeptical, right? They weren't as happy for him. They started to question him. Was it real? Was it AI? Was it all filmed in the past? Tons of conspiracy theories. Now, the response got even less direct and maybe perhaps even more calculated, depending on how you want to look at it, when HFC put out a video which presumably is filmed with her birthday coming up next week. And in this video on her channel, which I will say got significantly less views than Nick's video, so this very well could have been something they were working on together, but we get the impression that they really don't formally address the weight loss. And they almost intentionally dismiss anything regarding time, dates, specifics. Everything is just loose. It's vague. It's, quote, been a while. Then you start to compare current videos to past videos, and we notice that some breathing patterns are non-existent. And let me just say, very well could be the case. Microphone, equipment, settings, distance from the camera. There's a million ways you can explain those things. Now, I do know some people have kind of brought up the thumbnail conversation. To me, I think that's a lot more when you look at Candy's thumbnails. She poses for them, which is extremely common. Chantal, for example, poses for her thumbnails. It's not some strange thing. But when you watch the video and how it's kind of composed, in the beginning, Nick is kind of hiding behind the Outback bag. So it was almost like through the video, he acknowledged, hey, we never posed for a thumbnail. and then just happened to bring it up during the course of the meal, because if the focus was going to be him on her channel, then they missed the opportunity to set this up properly because there wasn't this grand thumbnail. But I think in time, most people were going to naturally make their way over to her channel, just wanting to see what was going on between him in his video and him and her in her video. But at a time where you would think, again, to go back to my initial point, that they would spend a lot of time trying to influence Candy, trying to discuss the journey, trying to show her that it is possible. And that's why I said in the beginning about the views, this video in what, 3 days, 28 million views. Now, I understand Nick has multiple channels, but let's just focus on this primary one. That video is going to make multiples of what his library of content would have made had he continued to make videos during that time. And that's something I don't think can be overlooked, because a lot of times, especially with Candy, we've learned the mindset is that people don't want to see the gradual change. They don't want to watch the journey. And I did a video about Dame Drops. And in that video, I said, one of the reasons I stopped watching him is because he started that journey and then he stopped. And then he went back to kind of all the same foods because he realized it kind of wasn't working. If you want to go back to, Jamal Get Right, Jamal started the journey, got this massive groundswell, and then opted to leave. And while he returned in a community post, the same viewership didn't seem to be there. Because the journey, I think, is very long. And the results, day to day, week to week, maybe aren't as visible. But obviously, when you can put 6, 7, 8 months together, you likely can get the results that Nick got. But rather than sitting here and kind of championing that and inspiring others, we're almost left in this kind of weird optic of someone that wants to come on and basically, again, like I said, play the villain, showcase that he was able to do this in spite of what everyone was thinking and saying, and almost as if he's proud to have pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. You would think more so with Candy, he would be sitting down and saying, look, I put in all the hard work. But the result with physically, my health, my body, and even from a views perspective, was way beyond, more than worth it. And I can say, as a content creator, the prospect of not making content when you're depending on it is very scary. It's very scary. And it seems like Nick might have been in a position to kind of save that money so that he could be able to take that break and get his health in check. But overall, no matter what, the saddest part about this to me is the discussion has become less about someone who can help others, educate others, inspire others, motivate others, and more about the actions, the acting, and what the true reality is. When it should have been all about someone making a massive positive change in their life when a lot of people didn't think that they could do it. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching this video, and a happy birthday to Christina. I will be back as soon as I can with more commentary.